Hello, Minnesota Timberwolves fans. How's it going? I am your host, Garrett Gilbertson, here to talk some T-Wolves with my friend Mike Baltz, the biggest, tallest T-Wolves fan I know. Don't let my other friends who are taller, but know that I said that.
I'm telling
How you
everyone.
doing, Mike?
I'm doing great.
Hey, we got a big game coming up. Before we get into the Wolves playing the Lakers, we haven't spoke yet this year, this season,
You've been
and
ignoring me.
I'm sorry. I will try to incorporate you a bit more. But yeah, we're on a 6-game lose streak right now, man. Things have gone down quickly. um, what are your initial thoughts here on how the season has gone so far?
I think missed opportunities is the number one thing. When you talk about the losses to Orlando, the second Pelicans game, which I went to, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Like even squandered opportunities against good teams like last night at Golden State and the Memphis game. I mean, we've lost some close ones.
Mm-hmm.
Defense is looking better, and offense, which everyone thought was going to be good, is kind of looking terrible, especially in the fourth quarter for some reason.
Yeah, our our fourth quarter numbers have been the worst in the NBA as far as efficiency, point scoring, basically every category. For whatever reason, the Wolves have been able to have a great first half of many games and then just let it slip away. The Orlando game and the last game against Golden State were just the same thing we've seen for years now. It seems to me that the Wolves just don't know organizationally how to win in the fourth quarter.
I will say this. I will say one thing that was different about the Wolves game, and we didn't finish it. But our thing the last couple years, I mean, really in the Carl Towns era, has been giving it up in the third. And as a
Yeah.
fan who watches every game, sadly, I watch every game.
Me too.
A lot of times people look at that next day box score, they look at that final score, and they say, "Oh, the Wolves got killed." And it's like, well, actually, we played 2.5 quarters of good basketball. And then in the third quarter, we gave it all up. And that was the Warriors thing. Conversely, like when the Warriors were at the peak, they would just let you hang around. And then in the third quarter, all of a sudden, they'd be up by 28. Well, in the Warriors game, we came back. Like we made a huge comeback. Ant was on fire. My favorite moment of the game was not any dunk or three-pointer. It was when they cut to him on the bench, going to commercial, and he was yelling and showing passion. Because I got to be honest, I still like him. I don't in any way think we should trade him. But Carl looked lethargic, kind of like he gave up. And that was a close game at the end. Like it was anybody's game.
It was anybody's game. And Carl, I agree with you. That fourth quarter, like the last 6 minutes of the game almost, uh, maybe the last 5 minutes, Carl looked like he knew they were going to lose. And it was the same look I saw from him in the Orlando game as well in the fourth quarter. Like, and that's what I say. Like, this team, and it's not just Carl, but the Orlando game, Anthony Edwards knew that too. Like, as hot as, what's his name? Greg Anthony's son, Cole.
Oh my gosh.
When he was hot in that game, Carl looked like he knew there's nothing I can do to stop this guy. This game is over. We might as well go home.
I do
He
think,
gave that same look in Golden State last night, or 2 nights ago.
yeah, they cut to him after I think he got like, technically blocked. I think it was a foul.
Yeah.
And I think maybe a little part of this, and like, I do think that sometimes we read players based on these, what we think their personality is, because basketball shows you up close faces more than most sports does. There's no helmets. It's not soccer where you're a million miles away, like from the players watching on TV. And we kind of read a lot more into it. And sometimes we're right and sometimes we're wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, Russell Westbrook always looks like he's going to tear someone's face off, but it's not like he doesn't check out for 2 quarters sometimes. But like with Carl, I think part of it may honestly be that he's really trying to not like bitch and moan to the refs. And so when something like that happens now, he's trying to be like, play it cool for my teammates. But on TV, when they cut to the tight shot, the hero shot, after he gets, ostensibly blocked, he looks like just kind of like I don't care. And it was just like, ooh, that is. I wish there was just like a little fire there. Even if you're not going to complain to the refs, be passionate. And that's the most exciting thing, obviously, I think about the Timberwolves right now is uh, Anthony Edwards and that passion. And
Yeah.
I could keep going on this. I mean, Jaden McDaniels always looks like a thug badass who couldn't give two fucks. But at the end of the day, he definitely cares if he
Yeah.
gets a block, if he gets called for a foul. Like he's a passionate player, and like so, maybe we're reading into it. I don't know,
No,
but
I think that's a good point, dude. Like, yeah, we're just sitting at home watching on TV. We don't know what was said in practice, what they've said to each other, how hard they're playing, for what reasons, who knows. But yeah, Anthony Edwards looks like he's got all the passion and energy in the world. And Carl, to your point, it has been quieter the last few games, not bitching to the refs, and that probably plays into the perception, the perceived uh, uh, the perceived amount of will that he has and determination. Might look lower than it really is, because I believe that he certainly wants to win at all costs and become that superstar that we all think he can be, right? Um,
I mean,
and
you
it's
saw in the
funny
book game.
that you mentioned Jaden McDaniels, because the dude is like stone faced all the time, right? Like,
He
just
gets a big
never.
block, and he's just like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. But he's energy and his effort, and like the way he plays defense is so fun to watch. How fast and quick his hands react to where the ball is. He gets more tip balls that just fly out of bounds than like the whole other team would in a game. He's got quick hands, so the passion is there. His personality just isn't. He's not that outgoing Russell Westbrook type player.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that's been sad about Jaden this season is there's been multiple games where he has 2 or 3 blocks in like the first 8 minutes of the game, but he
Yeah.
also gets to 5 fouls early in the third quarter. And so he's got to control that a little bit. But I think a good segue, if you don't mind me moderating for a second,
I love it.
about passion is who the fuck was that Andrew Wiggins last night?
Right.
Where was
It was
that player
crazy.
ever?
You saw Steph on the sidelines after a couple of after his big dunk. They're like, "Where'd that come from?
Like, no
What the
idea.
heck?"
Like, he was not. And you do think about it, like it's something I thought about last night. They got Wiggins. They also got Bielitsa. Like, when you got 2 guys that used to play for one team, you're like,
Yeah.
hey, let's rip these guys. What's up? Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's get these guys. Let's beat these guys. And so, I mean, props to Ant for kind of bringing us back with 48 points on fairly efficient shooting, frankly.
Efficient, but not in the fourth quarter. So here's my gripe, and we can dive into the 48-point game, which was so much fun to watch. But my gripe is in the fourth quarter, and I saw a replay, a clip above Ant telling Steph Curry, "Hey, I might get 50 tonight," and that was probably when he had 43 points, 42 or 46. Like, it was close. He didn't score another basket on his final 5 shot attempts in the fourth quarter after he hit 48. He was blocked 3 times, or stripped the ball at least 3 times driving to the basket just to get to 50. Never got there. Like, so efficiency, yes, for the
Yeah,
whole game, but the fourth quarter or the
well,
last
and
3 minutes.
that's the enigma in the off season. Like, all the talk, every expert. I mean, just from watching the last couple of seasons and knowing what we had, everyone assumed that the Wolves were going to put up points and the Wolves were going to give up points. And our defense has been top 10 for most of the season, like top 10 defense. And our offense has honestly been good for 3 quarters. And every game, even the ones we've won, in the fourth quarter, you see one guy dribbling and 4 guys standing around. And to me, that's the one thing that so far I haven't been impressed with Finch on. Because overall, I'm impressed with the dude. He's got us running actual NBA offense, which is good.
Hmm.
But we stopped doing it in the fourth, and it's not as simple as just like Cat or D'Lo, or sorry, Ant or D'Lo hogging the ball and calling for isolations. There's four guys standing. I mean, what was the game before the Warriors? Um,
It was the Memphis game.
Yes. When we got the 5 seconds at the end
Yeah.
of the game, we had a chance to win. There's seconds left, and we got a 5 second call. And there's one guy moving for the ball, D'Lo, I think. And there's four or three guys just standing 60 feet away in the opposite corner, and no one's setting a pick. They're not
Yep.
moving. And it's like, what are we doing right now? Like, I just don't understand it. And like, I don't know if they're tired, if it's a conditioning thing. Maybe we need to get the Heat's conditioner. You know what I mean? Although those
Yeah.
guys can't seem to stay healthy, none of them can have 6% body fat.
Yeah.
And
Although I think I don't know, we don't have very big players on our team. Carl
no,
was probably the biggest player coming in, and he's in great shape this year.
yeah, but I mean, you could be muscular, you could have no fat and not have endurance. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's that. I just don't know what it is. All I know is when I watch them in the fourth quarter, it's like, where is the team that I've been watching this entire game? It's four guys standing around and one guy dribbling, and the rest we look so good sometimes this year. That's the most impressive part about Coach Finch. We are flying around, we're setting multiple picks, handoffs, rescreens. We have actual offense, which we haven't had in so long.
Yeah.
um and yeah, I don't know what happens in the fourth, but like, that to me is kind of a coaching thing. It's like, hey guys, call the timeout. What are we doing? Let's run the same offense we were doing in the first quarter. Let's
Right.
keep this going.
It seems odd that he hasn't been able to connect with them or get the team to hold that mentality that they've had to open games in the first half of games, and even Ant's energy in the third quarter. And I can give our opponents credit in the fourth quarter for locking down on defense and making us having to take shots, but we're also uh, it seems like I don't know if they're plays that Chris Finch has been running for players in the fourth quarter of a Malik Beasley or Pat Beverly or some of the other guys that are taking these threes that haven't hit a three all night, you know? And then why are they even shooting that shot in the fourth quarter when we're trying to come back and get into the game, like, and they eventually missed every shot. I mean, it seems odd to me that Finch hasn't figured this out as far as I need to set and run more plays to get these guys open and try not to let it fall into the wrong shooter's hands or what, having the wrong shooter out on the court at that time really is.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like there's been a couple of games where it was clear that we were trying to get like Jaden or someone going early, but then it's like we abandoned that like
Yeah.
5 minutes into the game. There's like been a couple games where we clearly ran like some motions to get like Jaden or Beasley. Well, there was one game where after the slump where we tried to get D'Lo going early, but like, I mean, I feel like we should be doing that, like, but we should be trying with two guys instead of just one. It's like, all right, in the first 10 possessions, let's have three of them go to Jaden, three of them go to Beasley, one of them's going to get going, and then we have something besides our main three guys, because we do need to get players going. I mean, that's been the whole there's been multiple players in NBA history where they just hog the ball, and it's like, do you want to play with that guy? Like, we've all played at the rec center with that guy. It's like, eventually you're just like, well, I'm just going to stand over here because this guy's never passing to me. And maybe that's part of our fourth quarter malaise, It's like, they're just like, well, it's the fourth quarter. So Ant or D'Lo, maybe Cat is shooting. Because really, Cat in the fourth quarter, that we never seem to be able to get him the ball. Although that one to send it to overtime against Memphis, that was fun. Your audio just cut out on me for some reason. Can you hear me?
Check 1 2.
Yeah, I got you.
You
I
hear
got
me?
you. We're back. Yeah, yeah. It was cutting out for some reason.
Might
It was like super quiet.
it looks like it might have been the I got a crappy connection for my mic. I'm sorry. I need better equipment. I sound
It's
all
all right.
right?
That's why we got to get a sponsor. We got to get a sponsor. You sound
Good.
now?
Yeah, I'm having internet
Yeah,
slowdowns.
that Memphis game. Okay, that Memphis game though. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that cat last second shot. I had gotten my booster vaccine that night, and so you get like a 6 hour flu. So I was just like laying there with a fever and whatever, and I jumped right up. I did not feel great, and I was like very excited. And then, of course, we let it go. I mean, we were up by what 13 with 5 minutes left in the game. You should probably win that game every time.
Yeah, we should have won that game every time. That was a game that we had. That one the last night's game with the way that Anthony Edwards played against Golden State. We should have won that game, man. We had them on the ropes. You shouldn't have let Andrew Wiggins be the player of the game. It should have been Carl. It was Ant having 48 points. He should have been the player of the game, but no, we didn't win.
That was a passion that
It could
we
have
have
been
not seen
something.
though. What happened to Wade? I mean, it's obviously just playing the Timberwolves, but like, I mean, I watched where he never looks like that. Even when he's going off, he was into it. Let's
Yeah,
just say that.
yeah, he was. Yeah, it was unfortunate, and that's you hit it on the head. Like we got to figure out a way. Chris Finch needs to figure out a way to get this team to win in the fourth quarter. We're statistically have been the worst team in the fourth quarter in the entire NBA, and until that changes, we're just gonna keep being the Minnesota Timberwolves we've seen for the last decade. It's hard to watch when that happens and you see it coming.
We are in a tough stretch right now. And I feel like there's going to
Yeah.
be some like, some naysayers. I do think that the fact that we're playing fairly solid defense is a big thing and something that we haven't seen. And I think that there's a chance you could turn it around. And I say that every year, but like, I mean, the Wolves have gotten off to a lot of 3-0, 2-0 starts and then bombed. And
Hmm.
last season, was it last season? Yeah, we were like, weren't we like 6-2, 8 games in, and
Yep.
then
We had a good start
injuries
of the season last year.
and a bunch of stuff, and so it can go either way. Like I think it might be a couple games before we get it back together with the Lakers coming up tonight, then the Clippers, then the Warriors. We're all on the road for a while. But
Yep.
I mean, I do see some hope. I don't know what's going on with D'Lo. That's something I wish we could fix. He's just been
I
kind of
mean, he
like
didn't.
you can watch a game and not notice him for like plays, and he's like the point guard. It's
Yeah.
like
He had some great plays against the Warriors. Like there was an awesome pick and roll
yeah,
with him and Nas Reed. He got hot there in the third quarter with Anthony Edwards, but it was just he disappears, and I don't know. It's so weird. And then when he does start heating up, he did this against the Warriors, and when he starts heating up, then he'll take that three shot that just to like heat check himself, to make
every
sure,
time.
oh yeah, I'm gonna show everybody how hot my shooting is, and then he misses it and he's cold and he goes away. So it's tough.
And it
Yeah,
begs the question: like, are we running the best stuff for him? And would we be better served to have him do a little more off-ball work? because he is good in off ball. And like
Yep.
at times, I think it might be nice to have Ant or have Carl be playmaking. And like I know we always try to get it to him on the elbows, but I feel like teams have started to really defend that better now. And that's something that Jokic does really well. And Finch used to work with Jokic. And I think that maybe it's time to have Carl do some playmaking from behind the 3-point line, like, or wherever. Because, have D'Lo and Ant running off screens, one of them cutting to the basket, one of them popping out for a mid range or whatever. I don't know. Like, we need to try something, especially in the fourth quarter when they're just doubling Cat, they're walling up the paint, and we're just standing around.
Yeah. I think the team has shown the athleticism and energy to play good team basketball and not isolation basketball, which is what we've kind of seen here, and for a reason. You have to balance it, right? In the NBA, you got to play a little bit of isolation with your superstars or
For
with your
sure.
scores, and you got to have a little bit of team basketball that gets you through and keeps the team off balance. And I would like to see that in the fourth quarter. It seems like we really do get away from that passing team style, find the open man for the shot, and stick with that isolation play of having D'Lo just dribble up and take a wild three or whatever.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it would be nice. And
left-handed.
like, I that,
Yeah,
I'm reversed. I don't know.
I
I don't know what
I
to
couldn't
tell you.
do it with.
He shoots under.
Um. So yeah, he does the old granny shot, the free throw line. There's still who's the guy that still shoots like that? Um, it's his son. Why am I blanking right now?
Is he in
This happens
college?
too much. No, he was in college. He shot the granny shot. What's his name? Who's the guy that used to do it? Uh
Is it Kuzi? No, it's
Man.
I know who you're talking about, but
Yeah, it's his son
we
that
all know what
shot like
you're
that in college cuz he always said it was the most efficient free throw shot, right? And I imagine he played I can't think of it. We'll figure it out for another time. We'll discuss the granny shot and how its
free throw
efficiency.
shooting is not necessarily the problem at this point. Although sometimes it would help.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
encouraged to see. I think like as a team, we're shooting fairly well from three overall. Like this is the best we've shot from three in ever. So threes and D are something that we are better at this year. Which are if you had told me that the Wolves were going to have a top 10 D the beginning of the season, I'd be like,
Right?
we're going to be 10-2. Like we're going to come screaming out the gates, and it hasn't happened. And there's been some games with like usual stuff. Carl still gets zero respect from the refs, like none. And
Mhm.
it's got to be frustrating. Like he gets a ticky tack foul, goes on the other side. Two players make contact with him shooting, no call. And that would irk you after a while. But you
Yeah.
got to get over it. We got to figure out a way to win. And if it's two guys on Carl, then that means that realistically Carl should be passed into the open man anyways.
Let's um let's talk about tonight's game. Going against the Lakers without
So
LeBron, right? He's not playing.
I'm bummed because I love LeBron, but I'm also happy. But it's also a very similar situation we faced a couple times this year, which is like we met up with like the Clippers
Mhm.
and the Pelicans when we lost to them, they were 0-4. The Clippers got off to a terrible start. There's no Kawhi. So when they came to play us, they were hungry. They're like,
Mhm.
we're not dropping these. And I feel like the Lakers are in a similar position right now. They had kind of a rocky start. They've started to get it together against some bad teams. But then, there's no LeBron and they're like 500. So, they're at home. They need wins. They can't lose to teams like us. That puts an extra stress. And so we're going to have to come out and play.
Yeah, and we have to come out and play. I would think this is more of a must-win game for the Wolves than it is the Lakers, just because they know, like, hey, we can play. We got to weather the storm when LeBron gets back. They're all good. We're not all good if we keep losing. But the game itself is going to be pretty interesting because the Wolves play a big. They'll have to play kind of a bigger lineup, right? I mean, you'll have the Lakers
Yeah,
having
Howard and
larger centers. Yeah,
Drummond.
AD, Howard,
Wait, not Drummond.
not
Uh,
Drummond.
who do they have? Well, anyways, I don't know. I actually think, I'm not saying we can pull off a win. I actually think we match up fairly well. Like, I
Hmm.
think we have a couple guys that are going to make Carmelo Anthony, if they, when they play him, pay on defense and simultaneously can maybe keep him from shooting, openly. Like, I don't know who, it's going to be interesting to see who guards who. Like, I assume Carl guards Davis, but like, is it Vando on Mello? Because I feel like he could maybe actually legitimately annoy Mello.
Yeah, I
And
think McDaniels will do the same
Russell
on
Westbrook
Melo.
versus Anthony Davis. Or sorry, Anthony Edwards. That sounds fun to me. I'm
Yeah,
into that. Uh, who I still don't get that trade. Like, I don't really understand it. Like, Caruso is such a good player. And side note, sidebar, the
yeah,
Bulls are really fun this year. I watched my first Bulls game this year, and I'm
yes,
sold. They got Caruso, Levine. They just got all these fun guys. I'm not a huge DeRozan fan, but overall, and they lost Markkinen, who may be a good NBA player, but he's super boring to me. Like, I'm not into it. They are a
yeah.
fun team.
Lonzo Ball's been playing the best basketball of his career.
I like Lonzo.
Uh,
He's good.
yeah, he is good.
I think
And
that's a fun team.
I wanted the Wolves to get DeRozan the year that he came out, man. And it was just one of those. I don't even remember who we drafted that year.
Exactly.
But man, exactly. He's been a good player. He's a great scorer, DeRozan. I was I was impressed that when he got traded to San Antonio for Kawhi, like he just kept going. Like he's a superstar. He's a scorer. He knows how to play. Can't shoot the three all that efficiently, but
I'm just like
he gets
DeRozan.
to
When
them.
I shoot it, it goes in. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he definitely knows how to play basketball. I mean, people were giving him crap about not being in the modern NBA, not shooting threes. So he like tried that 2 years ago, and then he was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stick with the mid range, getting fouls." He is kind of a Wiggins though, not to the same extent, but like kind of with the rarely showing passion. Um,
hmm,
which is kind of why he like worked well with Lowry, because Lowry's just like 100% passion.
yeah,
And old big butt Lowry just like bouncing around off of everyone, taking 9 charges a game. But like but yeah, I don't know. Like the Bulls, I just watched the game, they were really fun. But I mean, I know we're supposed to talk about the Lakers, so let's talk about the Lakers game.
I mean, there's not much to talk about other than like it's a must-win game for the both teams. I think it's must-win for the Wolves. They gotta right the ship, and get a win under the belt, and it needs to be against a team like the Lakers, right? I mean, that's like I hope we get the Wolves team that played the Bucks tonight against the Lakers. You know what I mean? Like I hope they're super pumped up and ready to go.
The other reason I think I like the matchup for the Wolves is, because I kind of talked about us defending them, but like them defending us. Because we've been playing teams like the Clippers. The Warriors are, I think, if you check, the best defense in the league so far this year, believe it or not.
Really?
Um, yeah, they've been playing out of their minds. And then, the Memphis has a good D. We've been playing these teams that have good defenses. And that's kind of a weak spot for us. And so I'm curious to see with
Yep.
the Lakers, who have been kind of a mess on defense this year. Russell Westbrook wanders off. Melo's literally never been good at defense his entire career. I'm curious to see what happens. Like, Are they going to try to wall us off with Melo and whoever? Like, I don't know. But I think that we could definitely put up some points tonight if we are firing all cylinders. Can we do it in the fourth? We'll find out tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's it's a must-win game. That's as simple as I can't go on a 7-game losing streak if I'm the T-Wolves fan that I want to be all year, right? I mean, this is frustrating to this point.
Wait, 7.
Yeah,
Oh, losing.
that's an L.
I figured
It's
it out.
upside down, pal.
I figured it
Okay,
out.
there you go.
I'll just give you one of
Yeah,
each
so
until I get it the right direction because I can't really tell. I'm reversed on one screen. I'm not on the other. I don't even know what you're seeing right now.
here, let's I just pulled up the Lakers roster just to make sure I knew what was
Yeah, let's take a look.
so it's funny that here.
You look at these GMs and you're like, yeah, you might sell more jerseys with Westbrook, but do you realize that your team is probably better if you just pay Alex Caruso?
Right?
I don't even understand it.
I mean, they made a pretty good roster of old players, right? I mean, we didn't really get to talk uh, before the season started, but to bring back Trevor Ariza, who I don't know that he's played yet this year. Is he hurt or?
Yeah, I don't think he's played yet this year,
But
but they also could just be saving him.
yeah, Kent Bazemore is a great player. Avery Bradley they got back. I didn't know that.
That is,
They got our former T-Wolves Wayne Ellington.
yeah, I want to see him play. I mean, he's exactly what they need right now, 3-point shooting.
Yeah, and maybe he'll get some more time. I mean, Taylor Horton Tucker, I have to imagine, will play a little bit more with LeBron being out, right?
Yeah. Well,
I forgot
he's been
that they
out.
got Malik Monk.
Tucker's been hurt. I don't know that he might be available tonight. Monk,
Oh,
I like
really?
Monk. I like Monk as a role guy. I think that he was overdrafted. Like people thought he was
Yeah.
going to be like a superstar. I think his role is like a 6-man. He's like a Lou Williams, but with a little bit
He was
better
a great
defense.
shooter in
Yeah.
college. He's a Wayne Ellington type player, right? I mean, when he can get hot, he can shoot the ball. DeAndre Jordan is who you were thinking of for their centers. So like,
Yeah,
that
that's
is
it.
tough. You got AD and DeAndre Jordan. Maybe we'll see a couple more lineups or with Cat and Nas Reed in the lineup together, which it's fun to watch. And Nas has been playing. I mean, he's been one of the best consistent Timberwolves here so far this season.
Have you watched any Lakers games?
I think I watched which one? I don't remember. It was super early in the season.
So when you get a chance, I want you to look at the box scores. Like go to ESPN, pull up all the Lakers games. It'll show you all the scores of every game. And I want you to pull up the box scores and see how many minutes DeAndre Jordan plays a game. Because he starts and then he plays 11 minutes a game and takes 0 shots. They're just starting him as like prestige. It's just like a show. He's just like, yeah, we got you here. We're starting you. You play 11 minutes. You never see the court again and you take 0 to 2 shots. That's like every game. And it was the same thing the Nets did. They're friends with each other and they're just trying to get him his bag. But he's washed. Like he's nothing. I hope that he plays more than 11 minutes tonight. He's a much worse defender than Dwight Howard is.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard.
He's only he's averaging 8 points a game.
You know, and looking at
One
our
offensive
roster,
rebound.
I want to see some more.
Defensive.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
One
That's
offensive rebound. I was gonna say I was looking at our roster. Like I want to see like a little more like Taurean Prince. I feel like at the beginning of the season we were getting him some open threes, and now like the last couple games he's maybe taken a couple, but like one of them's in garbage time and one of them is just like a forced 3 that he's forcing up, not like in the flow of the game. I'd like to see him get a couple. That's a cool
It
card.
looked like early in the season he was really trying to be the offensive scoring guy we needed on the bench, especially when Beasley's been so cold. Like he was driving to the hoop, which I loved, and so yeah, maybe he can be a bigger part of the team. He's he certainly hasn't gotten as much playing time in the last 3 games.
Yeah, I do think
So
I
I'm
think
not
he's
sure.
a little hard for Finch to play because we got Vando and McDaniels, and he wants one of those two or a Kogi on the court at all times. And those are kind of like the
Hmm.
minutes he would get, but he needs the D because Torian Prince. I remember like one of the first games of the season, Jim Pete was talking on the broadcast about how like his defense, and I was like looking it up, and I was like, Torian Prince is not a historically good defender. He's just kind of okay. He like tries. He's kind of like Beasley, but not less erratic. Like he definitely is
Hmm.
trying, but he also just doesn't get it. Like he doesn't get team defense. Like Beasley does not understand team defense. But if you watch him, he's trying, he's running everywhere. But it's like if you just
Hmm.
did less, we might be better off. I want it for Beasley though. I want him to start hitting shots. Like I feel like we're gonna get a streak this season where Beasley goes off, and I hope that it's an
Yeah.
extended streak. And I hope he doesn't go to jail. I hope all of these things.
Yes. Well, I would hope that he has no reasons to be going to jail anymore. Um, and who knows, for what he went to jail for in the beginning, over the summer, was that meaningful?
I mean,
Because he
realistically,
did.
it probably has something to do with him scamming on Scottie Pippen's ex. You know,
Yeah. There you
Pippen
go.
probably put out a tip. He's like, "Go harass this guy. He's a little high. He's gonna
Yeah.
bring his guns out."
This guy's yeah.
You know,
Uh no, you're exactly right. Like the point in the season when Beasley does catch fire and starts draining these shots, his shot has looked super flat too, though. Like it mirrors Ricky Rubio from 3 years ago. It's just terrible.
yeah.
Every time he puts it up, like his accuracy is there. It's just so flat that
And it's
doesn't have the chance.
he was never a high arc shooter. Like he's not D'Lo, but like he had a nice shot. He's always had a nice
Yeah,
shot. That's been when he first came to the Wolves. Like right away, he was shooting like 43%, like just owning it. And if we can get that, and we have that on the court next to Cat and D'Lo, I mean that's a formidable lineup. Like who are you going to stop? Who are you going to double? What's going to happen here? And we can run actions off
yeah.
that. But right now, if I'm another team, I'm letting him shoot.
And I think that's what the Wolves are waiting for, is for they don't want to give up on him. Chris Finch has been giving him the playing time still, and his teammates are passing him the ball and encouraging him to keep shooting. It's just got to click, They got to start going in at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's gonna get it, and it's gonna be better. Um, and hopefully we have the leadership to kind of push him there. Like, hey man, you've been cold. Like, I want you in the gym shooting up 500 shots tonight. Like,
Yeah,
something's got to give.
I mean he's only shooting 33 field goal percentage and 31% from the 3-point line on the season. Like
That's not good.
those aren't Beasley numbers. Like
And it's gonna pick up. And that's what's even more impressive about our team shooting from three this season is that I thought it was like 37%. Maybe that was before last night. I'm not sure. But like as a team, we're shooting fairly well from three. At least in most games. There's been like one. I can't remember which game, but we had one terrible game. Which at this point in the season, you have one terrible game or one really good game.
Orlando's game, we shot
That
27%
was
from
it.
the three.
Yeah, that was
Milwaukee, we
bad.
only shot 30% or just under 30. So
But
yeah, I mean,
yeah, overall, like Anthony Edwards has been picking up and becoming a little more efficient. It seems like Ant is just slightly getting better. He's just constantly slightly getting better, and he was already good
yeah,
last year at the end of the season. And so if he can just keep getting those percentages slightly up and be that like firecracker, I loved again seeing him on the bench, just like amped up when we were trying to make a comeback last night. And hopefully that's something he can do for this team. And like, I mean, Cat may be ceding the leadership role. It might be a Dwayne Wade, LeBron James Heat season 2 kind of thing, where like season 1, LeBron had that terrible finals against the Mavs. And then Wade sat him down and he's like, look, man, you're the leader here. I know that I won a title and I'm really good, but like, this is your team, take the keys. And maybe that's what needs to happen
Mm-hmm.
here for this all to work.
Anthony Edwards is definitely the talented player that the T-Wolves have needed. I mean, if anybody can take control and really turn this thing around, it's Anthony, and he tried to against the Warriors, right? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I was he had a good oh, what was it? I don't know. It'll come back to me. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
But you're right. It's got to be it's got to be a team. The team needs to come together. There needs to be a leader. It's good to see him on the bench trying to be the voice and just encourage his teammates. It was a post game interview he did, or his news conference. Anthony Edwards was asked about being on the bench and how animated he was, and he just said like he was just trying to encourage his teammates to keep out there, to keep them in the game. And that's exactly it. Have you seen Carl doing that often in the past few seasons before Anthony Edwards was here?
Some passion. I want some
Yeah.
passion.
I think that's what
you know,
Anthony
lead it.
Edwards loved about Ricky Rubio and what he likes about Pat Beverly, right? Is the passion. And he wants to play with people like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Carl doesn't have that passion, but maybe, it's Anthony Edwards' way of trying to get that out of Carl Anthony Towns. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or just encourage his teammates.
What was the post game where the whole game Jim Pete was talking about how Carl had seemed almost zen like. And
Mm-hmm.
Jim Pete's talking about on the broadcast, like he's chill because he had freaked out about it was whatever game was after the Pelicans game, the
Yeah.
second one. And so
Was it Denver? Or was it the Milwaukee
maybe it
game?
was the Bucks. I think it was the Bucks. And how they
Yeah.
were talking about how he was zen like, and she's like, where did you find? And he did literally seem chill the whole game. He didn't yell at a ref. He didn't even look at him. And she's like, where did you find this, zen state or whatever? And he goes, I don't know. I think people read it wrong. I'm fucking passionate. Just said the F-bomb, just dropped it on the broadcast. That was pretty cool. And again, that goes back to like Mitch reading things. But like you would like to see what I feel like you don't see, especially during times of like stress with the team, like in game, is Carl like coaching up people. You get a lot of shots of Carl just kind of like sitting there being talked to. And it's like, if you're going to be the leader, you need to be the guy that's like, hey guys, this game is still ours. Like we can still do this. And I feel like that's Ant. It's got to be Ant. It's not D'Lo. D'Lo's too cool for any of that.
Yeah. He's the quiet. I feel like there's this like, yeah, it's in his veins. I feel like there's too much camaraderie with him and Carl Anthony Towns, like and it's just perception from watching the game at home. But like those two, you can see them playing back and forth with each other, and I just don't see that from Carl and Anthony Edwards too often. And I think part of it is just the isolation style play that either Finch is running for Ant, or it's not the same with Carl and Anthony Edwards to run a pick and roll the same as much as D'Lo and Carl Anthony Towns would run a pick and roll or screen actions, like that. But
yeah, I mean,
perception, just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it has kind of seemed like the defense is still doing so much better than we've had in many, many seasons. But that being said, there was a special kind of like energy in those first like 5 games. Like even the Pelicans loss or like the Orlando loss, it was still there. And it's kind of started to fade. And that's where like coaching and your best players have to like come through and bring that extra energy. And the other thing it'll be curious to see is we've been on this losing streak. Do we switch the lineup up tonight? Like, maybe the starting lineup gets a little bit, like let's probably put Jake Layman at point guard. That should work. right?
Yeah, that should work. Do you know if Balmero has
Bolero time.
is stayed with the team?
He's called up right now. He's on a.
They've been calling him back and forth from the G League.
I don't know if he's there tonight. I haven't looked that up, but it would be interesting to see him get some spot minutes. I don't know if a hard road trip against the Lakers is the right time, but like I don't know when's the right time. Because honestly, the Lakers' weakness is defense, and like that dude's a playmaker. And like maybe in the fourth quarter, I mean, like we've had some success, and I'd love to see more of McLaughlin sometimes in the fourth quarter, as long as he doesn't need to defend anyone. And maybe some Balmero.
Yeah.
Because what's been missing is offense, like offensive movement, and just like that kind of stuff. We've needed that in the fourth quarter, and hopefully we can find a way tonight. Or maybe we just get up by 30.
I would take that
Just
as
an
well,
idea.
but I've seen it too many times of being up by 30 and then letting it slip away, Baltz. So
No, I'm not going to hear it.
I know. I don't want to hear it either. It'll be a good game. I'm excited to watch it. I'm sure you are. I hope you can stay up for the whole thing. I know you got to work early in the morning.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's why I got to drink all this milk.
Yep. Yeah, drink that milk up. It does look like milk, doesn't it? Look like milk. It looks like milk.
It is tequila milk. That's what I'm drinking.
Good. Nice.
Well,
I appreciate it, man.
Can I do one more quick?
Yeah.
What do you think of the jerseys? This year's City Edition.
All right. Well, I should have had a picture of them to put it up.
No, it's okay.
I'll give you my first reaction, and then I think we should expand on this discussion topic.
Next time.
I love them. I think it's cool. The shorts are my favorite, even though the jersey is cool with the wolves across the top. Yeah. But the shorts, do you realize they have the new logo and the old original T-Wolves logo on each side of the leg?
Yeah.
I like the trim with the trees from the black 90s jerseys, which is awesome. And
I like
the color
the
change too.
Colors. Those are like the 1990 Timberwolves colors. That's like, I love incorporating all these parts, but I'm glad that they picked possibly the best colors that we've ever had.
Yeah. No, and the color changed from front to back. You know how the blue is the original 89, 90, and then it goes to a little bit of darker blue. Like that was sweet. They were fun to watch. We could. I'll have to get some pictures. We'll talk about them. We'll do a little panel discussion about which jerseys are the best here once they've released them all. It's a good idea.
And also, all Garrett, right. Just an Anthony Edwards City Edition jersey for Christmas. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll expect it in the mail.